like any marketplace, it's moving up and down on both sides. And so it's not, I don't think it's one answer, it's probably many answers. There are certain core skills which have been working well with independents, and many independents work in those areas like technology, data. And there we generally see a pretty decent supply. I wouldn't say an oversupply, but a good supply. But in many other areas, there's definitely not enough supply, and the demand is quite high. But what we do also see is that it was a function of the market not being as organized as it could be. And that's where a business like Outsized comes in, is to establish this marketplace. So we, for instance, have many people who are currently in permanent roles, quite keen to move into independent consulting, sitting on the sidelines waiting for that first chunky piece of work that they can move over into. And we saw a big shift in this post-COVID, where many people really enjoyed working independently, working from home, the freedom that gave them, the work-life balance, a far more of an outputs-driven way of working and being managed. And so, yes, I would say, broadly speaking, probably a bit more demand than supply if we look across our markets. But within that, it differs based on the particular skills that are being looked for. To be a talent-first company means that you truly have to be that, whether that talent is deciding to be independent or permanent. Also, these days, we see that it's quite fluid, actually, between the two. We have people who are working as independents, go perm, and then go back to being an independent. So it's no longer that rigid that I know I'm going to find what I'm looking for in the permanent market, or if I can't find it there, I have to go to the independent market. It's often between the two, and the question is, are you prepared to adapt on your side to get the skills that you need and want? Well, let's start from the beginning and assume that they have come to the conclusion that they do actually want to make use of independence. So that's not a given always, but let's say you've come to the conclusion that it makes sense for a proportion of my talent to be on a contract basis. Okay, what is it that independents want? And what we've seen is that very often, while the brand matters, the particular piece of work, the project, is what matters more. Because what independents are doing is they are building up a portfolio of experience. On the perm side, we also talk about this at the moment. It's a portfolio career. You're going to work at various companies and develop different skills over time. It's even more pronounced amongst independents. So they are looking for projects that they can work in, where they can deploy their skills, where they can show clear outcomes, where they know what they're doing and where it's going to be fun. That's really what they want. So if you as a company want to be accessing them, I think you should think about that I need to have my processes and my value proposition, a freelancer value proposition, set up such that the projects that I'm putting out there for independents to work on are well-defined, they're scoped out, they're interesting, that they can achieve success. That's a good starting point, I would say. And that's where you will build your brand of being freelancer-friendly. So we can't just put out an advert, so to speak, and say, well, here's a really interesting project. It's also the entire experience of them dealing with you. So we've spoken about this, where you should be thinking about right up front, is this well scoped out and understood with clear deliverables? Then when you start the process of going out to find an independent to work for you, what does that recruitment process look like? Have I just upped and lifted what I'm using on my perm side, or have I actually sat down and said, what is the best way to quickly make a decision that does not put me at risk, but allows me to access talent in a quick and efficient manner? And then how am I onboarding them? And am I setting them up for success? And this is not about doing favors. This is about making sure that your organization is set up to make the most of independent talent that is out there. And it's all of these things that will add to this reputation that you will build of being freelancer first or freelancer friendly.